All right, so let's dive into some content and show you guys some of what I'm doing and what I do on a regular basis. I'm going to move the camera just a little bit here so that I can see my screen well. Um, every quarter we're coming to the very end of the first quarter of 2021, and we're in a new normal in some ways. Who knows when everything really is going to be opened, and who knows all of what the world is going to look like the next quarter or the quarter after. But for the most part, we have come through a really kind of challenging year, or what could have been a challenging year. I hope and I pray that it has been a fantastic year for all of you. It has been for us and for BSP, though in the very beginning, a year ago this month, or towards the end of March, was when our office, which is where we have a dozen or more employees, was shut down in Pasadena, in Los Angeles, and we were now forced to enter this new normal of working on Zoom and working remotely. And as I've said to you, I think many times, it has been a tremendous blessing in disguise for us, and I pray that the same is true for all of you as far as your businesses. But with all of that said, we have to press on, and we have to think about, okay, the quarter has passed, January through March. How did we do? What could we have done better? What goals did we reach? Maybe what challenges caused us to be off course. And with all that said, and I'm speaking primarily from a business growth perspective, I think first and foremost about the marketing, the campaign, the offers of my business. No one else thinks about that like I do. Of course, I have some people on my team that I guide and that help me to do these things, but I'm the one that thinks and plans and schedules. And I really sincerely believe that you should be that person in your business and on your team as well. And so now that we're towards the very end of the quarter, I've been thinking about what things look like for quarter number 2 and quarter number 3 for bestseller publishing. And I've made some notes to kind of go over with you about how I think about that. And maybe the best way for you to think about that is to think about how you work best, and then apply what of the things I'm sharing, what works for you and what doesn't. But here's what I do, and here's what I recommend. Number one, you want to make and schedule time, and I believe that should be 1 to 2 hours minimum weekly to work on your business. Working on your business is thinking about your business, thinking about your offers, thinking about your campaigns, thinking about what's working and what is not working. This is not time that you spend with other employees or partners within your company. This is time that you spend on your own. Now, I'm speaking for myself because I have weekly meetings with various members of my team. Bob and I meet every week for usually about an hour on Friday. And what we're generally talking about are administrative issues or places where we can maybe improve our processes and things like that. We are not primarily talking about the growth of the business. And so this is for me to think about. That's the number one thing that I would recommend, is that you have a weekly time to work on your business. And specifically, I mean your marketing, your campaigns, your offers. Number 2, review your goals from last quarter. Write down what goals you accomplished, what goals you missed. If you're talking about large marketing campaigns, you probably won't have many. I'm not recommending that you have dozens of things that you're trying to do. In a minute, I'm going to share with you exactly what my goals are for the next quarter and the quarter beyond. And they're just a few things. So I'll know if I've hit those things or if I haven't, and why I didn't, and what I can do to make sure that I do hit them in the future. Number 3, you want to reflect and contemplate on your market's needs. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, for my market, it's fairly simple, right? It's writing and marketing a book. It's getting speaking engagements. That's what many of my clients want. And it's media and PR, getting, in front of, TV, radio, podcast, blogs, et cetera, so that you can grow your audience, grow your authority, grow your thought leadership in your market. This is for the most part. Now, there are nuances in each of those things, right? There's all kinds of different speaking engagements. There's many, many different ways to market a book. There's Amazon launches versus Wall Street Journal and Barnes and Noble and many different of nuances, but you want to reflect and contemplate, okay, your market, what you do for your market, you should be able to boil down to just 2, 3, 4 things that your market really needs from you. Then number 4, you want to consider, always considering what your market needs, you want to consider what new campaigns you might have. Now, I actually probably have campaigns and offers mixed up, but let's just stick with this. When I say campaigns and offers mixed up, an offer is something new that you're bringing to the marketplace. A campaign is really the way that you're delivering that new thing in the marketplace, or a campaign could be the way that you're delivering a new way to deliver an old offer to the marketplace. Okay. As an example, I've shared with you, we started doing quite a bit of LinkedIn marketing about 6 months ago. And what was the LinkedIn marketing? Well, it was a new delivery system for our usual campaign, which was to, offer people a one-on-one call, a strategy session call with one of our author development coaches. So the campaign itself was new. It's the delivery system, but it was for an ongoing offer. Okay. So consider new campaigns. Well, for me, I have 3 things that I want to focus on the most for quarter number 2. Number 1 is, I've really created some momentum now with my podcast and my YouTube channels, and I really want to grow and scale that. And so my number 1 campaign is to continue what I'm doing and then add in some superchargers, some other elements that will help to get, more listeners of my podcast, more watchers of my YouTube channel, et cetera. B, under new campaigns, is I'm going to do a second quarter challenge. I didn't do a challenge in the first quarter of 2021. And the primary reason I didn't was because we had some issues with our email list and with our Facebook marketing. And we had to kind of sort those things out. And there was no reason to pour a bunch of money into a new campaign where we weren't able, as well as we would like, to communicate with our new subscribers because our email was a little wonky, or if we weren't able to, get the cost per acquisition of a new challenger, a new person to bring into a 5-day book challenge. If we weren't able to keep those costs down, then why do it? Well, we've worked those bugs out. And so we're going to do a challenge in the month of April. And that's going to be a 5-day challenge. I'll, of course, as always, share results and share what I'm doing there. I might even do 2 challenges in the second quarter, meaning one in April and then, maybe one in June as well. We'll see. And then lastly, we were doing a lot of great work with our blog and also creating, regular content-based emails. And that really fell off the wagon with some staffing changes that we made. And so I want to make sure that campaign gets going again. I want to offer the 70,000 people on my email list, good content on a regular basis, 2-3 times a week. I want to have a blog that is SEO optimized and attracting, people to it just because it's good content. And we have great content creators in our company. And so there's no reason not to be able to do that. So those are the campaigns that I'm focusing on. Those are kind of the big rocks, if you will. And then new offers. And new offers are, the reason I said I might have mixed those up, meaning I probably should have talked to you about the offers before I talked to you about the campaigns. In one sense, it doesn't matter. But generally, the offers you want to think of before you think of the campaigns. The offers are the real way that you're bringing new people, new blood, new leads, new opportunities, new clients into your business. So 3 new offers that we're going to be launching. Well, 2 definitely in this quarter and 1 probably third quarter. So I've been working on this new mini course, which will lead to a strategy session. The mini course will be a $27 SLO. An SLO is a self-liquidating offer. In other words, like Publish, Promote, Profit, the free plus shipping thing is really just a way to get somebody to raise their hand and say, I really want to, read your book because I want to write a book, or I wrote a book and I want to make it successful. And so I make somebody reach in their pocket and pull out their credit card and give me a little bit of money in exchange for my book, so that I can, by that action, judge that these people are like very serious. It's not just an email that they're giving me. They're actually paying $7.95 plus maybe a little bit more with the upsells and downsells. Well, I need a new offer like that, and I've been working on one. So I have a new mini course that's going to be $27, and I'm going to be launching it using Facebook ads and traffic, with the whole goal of that not being to make a fortune selling $27 things, but the whole goal is that I can sell a $27 thing and get a customer that might cost me $30 or $40. And so, yes, I'm still going in the hole, but I have a really qualified customer that I can then take to a one-on-one call to see if we can actually help them with some of our done-for-you services. So that will be launching this quarter. B is this Wall Street Journal USA Today thing that we've been doing, the anthology. Part of the reason that I offered it at a pretty steep discount to the first group of clients that we ran this through with was because I really wanted to test this. I really wanted to make sure that I could deliver this on a regular basis to the marketplace. And so in some ways, I made an offer that I think many of my clients couldn't refuse. I said, here's what the price is going to be. Here's what the price is to you. And I'll guarantee it, or I'll give you your money back. In other words, you risk absolutely nothing. And so we sold it out in just a couple of days, and it was a good start for us. And so now this is the week. I didn't want to go to the marketplace with this thing and have tons of people giving me money if I couldn't deliver exactly what I promised. So next week, when we hit Wall Street Journal, USA Today, et cetera, I'm then going to have the confidence that, okay, I have a real great offer here that I can deliver to the marketplace. Now I need to create my marketing campaign around that new offer and launch that. And my goal is to launch that new Wall Street Journal USA Today anthology offer into the marketplace in the second quarter. And then last, C, is something that I'm asked a lot is one of two things. One, can you book speaking engagements for me? Like you get, you'll get, Rob can get you on TV and radio and all of that. Can you also get me speaking? And that's not something that we do. And the other thing that I'm asked is, can you get me a TED Talk? And I've been looking for years for, a way to actually make that happen. I have not had a TED Talk myself. It hasn't been a priority, but my goal in Q2 is to book myself for at least one, maybe 2 or 3 TED Talks, really nail the process, and then create an offer of, being able to help my authors or authors to actually land a TED Talk as a done-for-you service. So don't say you want it. I mean, if you do want it, I'd like to hear if that's something you're interested in, but I don't have that to sell to anybody yet. It's not an offer that I'm making to anybody. I need to make sure that I can do it. And I'm the guinea pig. So I'm spending money. I'm doing what needs to be done to make that happen. And if I can make it happen for me, then I can make it happen for you. And so I'm working on that. Right now, I'm in the very preliminary stages. And that's why I wrote down right here that it's a third quarter type offer. Jeanette says that sounds amazing. To connect to TEDx will be huge. It would be. It's a very, very big platform. In fact, there are more views on TEDx than there are on TED now. So TEDx has outgrown TED, which is really interesting. Anyway, so I'm sharing with you my stuff, but I'm trying to share with you the way that I came about this so that you can do the same thing for yourself and for your business. After I do that, after I think I want to accomplish this, this is my goal for the second quarter, et cetera, then I have to schedule out the to-dos and I have to know myself. I wrote, you have to know yourself. Here's what I mean by that. For me, goals alone don't work for me. Okay. I can't just write down in my book, though I do write down in my book. I can't just write down in my book that I am going to get a TED Talk or that I am going to, create this Wall Street Journal USA Today offer. That alone It's helpful, but that alone does not work for me. What works for me is having systems and habits and a schedule. I had been wanting to start a podcast for a long, long time, at least the last couple of years. And I just didn't do it because I didn't make it a regular calendar item. And what I did that even helped considerably more is that I pulled out my wallet, and for $3,000 a month, I hired some teammates that would work to actually book me for podcast interviews. They now have access to my calendar. And so the system that I set up is basically they book me for podcasts. They book me for, these interviews, and it just shows up on my calendar. And look, I am a creature of habit. If it's on my calendar, I'm doing it. And, I never miss a scheduled appointment. I am, I'm there early. It's important to me. So this is me knowing myself, right? I actually needed to pay somebody to do this and give them access to my calendar to make this work. But now I am doing, 3-4 podcasts every single week, and we're really stacking them up. The other thing that we did is we created a system to take those podcasts and turn them into a YouTube video. And the next step is to turn them into social media posts, emails, and blog posts. That's going to help with my 4C new campaign, because I want to really have regular email and blog and social content. Okay. So you need to know yourself. You need to know what works for you and how you really are most productive. A great book is Atomic Habits. And I'm going to reference some things from Atomic Habits just to kind of close out. I totally suggest you read it. It's a great book. I like what he has to say, and some of it is regurgitated from other people, and and of course that's great, right? We all kind of stand on the shoulders of others, but there's even thoughts that as you read something, there are things that you agree with, and there's things that maybe you would change or adjust. One of the things that Clear says in Atomic Habits is we all want results, but results come from actions, and actions come from your identity, how you actually consider yourself, who you consider yourself to be, what you kind of hold as your identity. An example for me is my morning routine. I mean, I work out 6 days a week. I never miss. I love it. It is just who I am. And when I travel or when I'm off my schedule for one reason or another, I feel like a different person, and I don't like the way I feel. It impacts my identity. Now, it wasn't like that in the beginning. I don't think, and this is where I maybe disagree with James Clear a little bit, is, I think actions and making sure that you create the actions necessary are important first before you ever identify as a writer, a podcaster, a content creator, a best-selling author, right? And so I think that's where, some of the, what is it called? Affirmations and, just believing that you are a certain way. I think that's where some of that stuff for me fails. For me, it fails because I just feel, that I'm out of integrity with myself by just saying some words when I know in my heart of hearts, I'm not creating the actions that really lead to that identity. You figure out yourself. But how are they formed? Well, actions are formed always through resistance. There's always resistance at the beginning. And so Clear talks about how habits can be formed by having something that you do, kind of a hack that you can create is something that you do naturally now. Maybe it's having coffee in the morning, which you never miss. And that thing that you do, you want to in some way attach that as a trigger to the routine that you want to build, the habit that you want to build. And so mentally, again, just using the silly example of having coffee, mentally you attach the idea of having coffee with, I'm then going to break, once I have my cup of coffee, I then get my journal out and I begin thinking through my next quarter of my business, or I begin thinking through my marketing plan or my marketing calendar or whatever. And as you attach those things, a routine is created, and then a reward, a sense of fulfillment, which I believe, and this is where I add my 2 cents in, that's where I believe that the identity comes from. The last thing I'll mention, and then I'll open it up to any comments or questions. Um, you know, if you, I wrote, do not focus on the action or the habit to do. If you just focus on the action or the habit, oftentimes it can feel overwhelming. I mean, the idea of me creating a podcast where I was going to interview 2, 3, 4 people a week, and then that podcast needed to be, edited, and we needed intro music and outro music, and we needed a description and a write-up, and I needed a team to make sure that the video was edited and the audio was, I mean, I was just like overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh, it's just, and so 2 years went by and I just didn't want to do it. Until I, until I realized, okay, this is really important. I'm just going to rip out my wallet and I'm going to do what I know I can do. And so, don't focus on the giant thing that you're trying to do. Just focus on the first 2 minutes. All the resistance comes in the first 2 minutes. And after the first couple of minutes, then motivation and momentum takes over. And that's true with, beginning a routine or habit of exercising. That's true with beginning a routine or habit of working on your business, not in your business, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to give you, I know some of this is very, very like clear and direct, but I also wanted to give you some of the ethereal stuff that I think about, because, at 56, I have kind of at least become self-aware enough to know why I don't want to do things or why I don't do things. And I've looked at things that I've actually done and been successful at, and learned, okay, this is how Rob can do the thing next quarter. I need systems and habits and a schedule. And if Rob gets fit in that, then I'll be successful with my next set of goals. And now I have friends that are creative geniuses, and they hate the idea of having something on their schedule. It freaks them out. Great. So I'm not saying that you need to apply this exactly as it sits. I'm saying that you need to know yourself. And by knowing yourself, and then by adding in, like, some of the true psychology of habit creation and routine creation, you can then get to the point where you're doing this on a regular basis. And that will lead to, incredible momentum for your business, all kinds of new campaigns that you have going, all kinds of new offers on a regular basis that you have going. And that's where, massive success can come from.